Hey, what's up y'all? Sinister here with another Gamerversary video, and today I'm covering Strider by Capcom, and it debuted in the arcade 35 years ago. And now we're going to break down my experience with this fast-paced hack-and-slash platformer, but before I begin, feel free to comment about your thoughts about Strider down below. I'm going ahead and start with the history. Before Strider hit the arcades, it started out as a manga over in Japan in 1988. Hiryu was created by a group of artists called Makoto Kakaku, and it was published by the Kurokawa Shoten. Capcom stepped in and helped him with the concept of this collaboration to help Strider leap from the manga pages to the screens. And so now Capcom had two guys to head up the project, who are Koichi Yotsui and Masahiko Kurokawa, respectively, working on both the arcade and the NES ports. Moto Kakaku had Tatsumi Wada to do the artwork for the game, and the arcade and the NES ports. Just to make sure, they differ from each other as far as gameplay, graphics, story, and presentation. On March 7, 1989, that's when Strider hit the arcade scene over in Japan, and the NES version was released in North America in July of that same year. Many ports landed on other platforms soon after that. I'm just going to move on to the story. The plot of the arcade version is set into the future in Eurasia, mostly like in the Soviet Union around that time. Hiryu is a Strider who is set out to fight the Grandmaster Meio and his organization. The NES plot is more in tune with the manga, which Hiryu fights a different villain towards the end to avenge his sister before retiring from the Strider organization. However, he's gonna focus on the arcade version because that's where most of us know and love the most. Anyway, Hiryu travels to different locations just to track down Meio and his henchmen and henchwomen before taking on the big man himself. And now to the nitty gritty, the experience. This is where the fun part begins, my view of this game. So first off, I played the Genesis version, but before that, I was at a friend's house, he was playing it, and he owned it. I was like, what's this game about? I was like, oh man, it looks cool, like, it's fast, and got a sword, you hacking and slashing, you're facing a guy that looks like Schwarzenegger's all beefed up, and then you're sitting there fighting like this violent government organization, turning into mini monsters and, mechanical enemies that you fight along the way, which is cool and all, but it's like, it's almost like a port of the arcade, and just put it out there like that. But anyways, like, what I dig about this game is the soundtrack, because the music was phenomenal. Big ups to the composer of the Genesis port and the arcade version, respectively. But as far as the Genesis port goes, like, the voice actors mainly grunts, growls, and laughter from Meio himself. And because, like I said, I already digged about the soundtrack. So, one of my favorite ones is like Hiryu's theme and the final theme when you fight the big boss himself. So now when I got to play it, it was challenging along the way, but when I got deeper in the game, but I used the ball more continue, wasn't able to beat the final boss himself. So on my second playthrough, I was able to have the game genie just to get through it faster, plus overcome the difficult parts that you burned up all my continues early on before that. So anyways, now I got to the big boss himself. Meio was sliced and diced, beat the game. However, when it comes to the ending, the Genesis and the arcade versions, are different from each other because, well, more of that in a bit. So, fast forward, to the arcade version itself. I was able to play it via emulation. I went through it, didn't have as much difficulty playing it along the way. Got to the big boss himself. Eliminated him. Then I saw that ended, but. Yeah, because more of that, because on the Genesis, like, the ending of that is it shows Hiryu just on his glider, shows like all appearances, like all the enemies and bosses that you fought along the way. Then he flies away, like, across the moon back to the earth, and you see the sun shining after that. But on the arcade, Hiryu, he seen him jump up to the moon. Then, fast forward now to the whale. He lands on top of a whale and just sails off, wherever, some parts unknown. So you may take it as a hint that, hey, I did my thing, time for retire, I also played the NES version, but of course, that was the third game I played, port of it I played. Like I said, I enjoyed the plot of it because it's more in tune to the manga. However, the gameplay was like less than stellar, it was okay, but, like I said, I was more spoiled about the gameplay of the arcade and the Genesis port, but like I said, not a knock on the NES version. I more enjoyed the plot of it. So anyway, gonna move on to the verdict. I give this game a 4.5 out of 5. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. This is Sinister. Be easy.